You're listening to watching a new edition of County Live. Chris, you're looking fantastic with the light behind you. We've got our lighting sorted out.
Martin, you have got your lighting sorted out. I'm just here in my kitchen, but yours every week is looking more and more professional. Honestly, I'm expecting to see your front room on iPlayer sometime soon. It's looking that kind of professional. It's looking really cool.
There's your show, Martin's Front Room. That's our next show. In development, if Netflix do get in touch, we are available. But this is County Live, and you've managed to, I was going to say dig up's not the right word, but you've managed to find another big name. This week, it's Tommy Rowe.
Yes, and do you know what? I'm a little, just saying to you off air then, a little surprised at the massive reception we've had for Tommy. I mean, I know he's a good player. He's a great name. He's a very, very friendly lad and everything else. But we're getting so many messages from it saying how cool a player Tommy Rowe is. It's great to see him on the show. It's great to see him doing well, everything else. So, I mean, it's made me feel a bit better about the show in general. He really is a lovely guy, and he deserves all this accolade and this praise for what he achieved as a player, for the way he is as a person. And it's really glad. I'm just really glad to see it go down as well as hopefully it will do.
Well, this is Chris's interview with Tommy Rowe.
Tommy Rowe, welcome to Stockport County Live. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on. You've given me fair warning. You're not 100% at the moment, feeling a little under the weather.
I am, yeah. Hay fever has just attacked me last minute.
Well, we'll try and plough on. We'll try and get through it. Hay fever aside, how are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm really good. Going really well. We've just come to the end of our season. Slightly disappointed with the ending. We expected to be in the playoffs where we were before the COVID had all come into fashion, and now it's a case of rest for 2 weeks and start season again. Pre-season will start sort of around the 10th of August for us. So yeah, it's a short break. It's an unusual one, but I guess that's the times that we're living right now.
Yes, I want to talk to you about the championship ending in just a moment. About the pre-season, about the couple of weeks break, I find it strange at the moment because playoffs are still going on in some leagues, while other teams are getting ready for pre-season. County have actually already started training. It's a very, very weird setup. Being involved in that mix as a player, how are you finding it all? Can you have any switch off, or are you just on all the time?
It is strange. I mean, I've got a few friends that, again, what you said there, they've started pre-season training. And it's unusual because we're in the midst of it, going into our sort of last 9 games, and lads are back for pre-season. It is what it is at the minute. You know, we're all aware of what's been going on. Football has changed dramatically over the course of probably about 4 months, so nothing's normal anymore, I suppose. And what we're doing well in the football and business at the minute is adapting, and everyone's the same. Every situation is different, so we're all trying to, pull in the right direction. But yeah, I think you speak to your friends and you see where they're at. I suppose it's good because there's football always going on, and fans have missed it for so long. So we get back going. It's a great thing.
Was it hard for you to try and stay fit and stay healthy and active throughout COVID? I mean, spoken to a few players, and a lot of players, especially in the higher divisions, they will have workout equipment at home. Spoke to Ash Williams a few weeks ago. He was saying he was okay because he had the gym at home. But there's other players who, they moved to different, even in the Premier League, they moved to a different club and they have just a nice apartment near the ground or whatever. They don't have a gym there. They don't have training. So how did you find staying in shape?
Yeah, there were challenges. Obviously, we start off with the introduction for us was a case of we didn't know how long we were going to be out of football. So do you start doing running, or do you take this break now because you might not have one for another 18 months? Luckily for us, the club were well informed in terms of moving forward, and we got the relevant information at the right time to when to do the right amount of work. So at the start of it, we were just going out and running on the park, and it brings it back. It's sort of the old school of the way you did it when you were a kid, and the nostalgia of that was really good for me because obviously we're cooped up inside the house, but there's a relevance to going out and doing a bit of running every now and again. And further down the line, we started to do Zoom sessions. they were great because we got that sort of cohesion with the players that we've been missing, the chit chat, and we needed that. I think there was a time for it, and before you knew it, we were back in training, and it seemed to go really fast and so well, but it was a complete shock to the system in terms of all the testing and tracing and things like that. But yeah, like I said, it's gone like that in a flash, and that's football for you.
Let's just talk for a minute about that championship ending. It was. I have no vested interest. I'm a Stockport County fan. I didn't have any vested interest in the teams in the championship specifically, but I found myself sitting on a knife edge. It was going one way, then it was going the other. Just, I know, I like you say, disappointment for yourself, but how was it, again, just experiencing it from the inside?
I think the build-up to it was unrealistic to what the actual reality of it was. We put a lot of sort of emphasis in focusing on the outcome of these performances because there's going to be no fans. Would the intensity of the games be the same? And sort of injuries as well. You talk about injuries, we're only at a short sort of pre-season. So there was loads of challenges going into it. And I thought the psychology of it was higher than what the expectation was when we were actually going into the actual games. When you start playing football, it's just football again. Sometimes you go into this sort of flow where you don't even recognise the difference between fans and no fans, but obviously the atmosphere before it is the thing that you do feel. You're going into stadiums where it's quiet, hotels, there's nobody there, and these things are a challenge to young players and old players, coaches, but it was different, and we learned and we adapted, and we went into it as best prepared as we could have been. And in the end, we fell short. But it was definitely an experience that we'll learn from. We'll need to come back next season. We'll have learned from this and be in a position where we really should have, took our chances of the position and got into the playoffs. Especially with the ending of the last day, which was fascinating. We were the only game in the championship that there was nothing real riding on it on the last game. It was in Preston. But after the game, going back to the change rooms and seeing everything that happened, it was even more disappointing knowing, just one of them wins, losses could have been a win, and you may have been in there.
Yeah, no, I do sympathise with you. I say let's move on to Stockport County, but I almost want to stay there while we do it. Obviously, your name came up a couple of weeks ago when we had Ash on the programme, and he was talking about how County seem to be everywhere he goes. There's County fans, there's County players, and that's how he started speaking about yourself. Is it nice for you, I guess, having people like Ash Williams just there with you, who you've obviously known for, I wouldn't like to guess how many years now, but a long time, and having him just there next to you in the changing room?
Yeah, unbelievable for me. When he came in at the start of the season, from obscurity, really, nobody expected it. And we had a lot of injuries, so the team from the start to sort of the end of pre-season was completely different. I knew a lot about Ash. I have high estimations of Ash. He was my captain when I was at Stockport. I was a young boy. I'm not a young boy anymore. So all these things start to come in your head when you. But I also knew Ash as well as a friend, and when he came in, it was like old times. Talking about Stockport and things like that, and we actually used to live around the corner from each other in Wivenshaw when we were at Stockport. So, I've always held and look at Ash's career. That's another thing that comes to mind. How many caps he's had for Wales, the sort of the level that he's competed in. So it was great lift for everyone when he came in, and more so for me because I knew him, and it was another face that I was familiar with, and somebody that I respected highly, and that gave me a great lift going into the start of a new championship season.
Let's go back to those days where you used to live around the corner from each other, those days at Stockport County. To kick the conversation off, when you first hear Stockport County these days, when someone first mentions Stockport County to you, what do you kind of feel? What things pop to your mind, first of all, when hearing the words Stockport County?
Just immense pride, disappointment of what's been going on over sort of a period of time in terms of how good the fans were and the club in general, but some of the achievements early on in my career were all down to this great club. So there's always a story. There's always conversation I love to have with people who receive letters 10 years on from county fans, believe it or not, and they're always the best ones because when you're youngest, it means the most because they helped you. They got you where you were before my Peterborough days of Jim Gannon bringing me on from a youth team player, Craig Madden when I was in the youth team, all these coaches that have helped my career, and most of them, well, some of them are still there now, and you just mentioned two more that I believe are there who I played with. So yeah, immense pride every time I hear the club. And obviously yourself, with not having any affiliation with clubs in the Championship, but the one thing that I look for on Sky Remote is Stockport's results from when I left to when the next game is. I'll always keep my lookout.
How did the move first come about? When you go back all those years and there's word that Stockport could be interested, and you start as the youth system, if you like, and the way that worked out. How did it all happen back in those days? How did you first walk through those doors?
I mean, I was 15 when I got told probably the worst news in my career was I was being released for the first time, and most players can remember that fondly because it hurts forever. No matter how old you get, you'll always remember them words, the way they got told, if it was your dad or the coach, however it was. But the main thing for me was my reaction from it. I could have quite easily gone out of football like a lot of my friends did, and it wouldn't have suited my lifestyle. I was tailored around being a footballer in terms of my professionalism and my detail, and I just loved it. If you love football so much, you don't have a plan B or a plan C. Sometimes it was football or nothing for me at the time. Being a dad now, I wouldn't copy that trend with my kids now. It's a dangerous road, but at the time it was a case of I need to pick me up. I need to go back and love football again because I had the worst news ever. And I think United spoke to me about going to clubs like Blackburn and Bolton that were around the corner, and Stockport County's name came up, and my dad knew well of Stockport being around the corner. Manor Farm, I lived at probably about a 5-minute drive from the training ground. The stadium's 5 minutes from my house. So the first idea for me and my dad was to try Stockport out and to see what the environment was like. And I'd heard good things going in from the coaches, that the way they developed the young players and to give them a chance. But I never expected it to be as fluent. My transition going into there, it was the first day, and recognised players that I played against for years in sort of school football. And it was literally, I couldn't say it any more highly about how welcoming it was in terms of the coaches. Peter Ward was my coach at the time, and the lads there, I took to it so well, and I signed a contract there. So I enjoyed it that much that I didn't need to look at any other clubs. Stockport County, I'd made my mind up after the first session, and the standard was just as high as United at the time in terms of the ability of players. We had a great team for 3-4 years, going up all the way to the youth team. A lot of the players stayed the same, even to the pros. Majority of the second years on my team got pro contracts, so it turned out to be a very wise decision to come see Stockport in the first place.
You mentioned Peter Ward there. We had him on a few weeks back. Again, we've been running this Legend series, and Wardy's almost in there twice for his time working with Jim, and then obviously his time as a player. A lot of the players that we speak to, they tell us about this dynamic that Peter and Jim had together, where Jim, very, very thorough, master tactician, if you like. He analyses everything, makes sure every T is crossed and I is dotted. And Wardy, although he had that in his locker, it seems to me from the outside like he was the kind of relationship between the manager and the players almost. He was one of the lads.
Yeah, they were literally like a comedy duo. You probably wouldn't think that in terms of Jim Gannon's sort of seriousness to the way he works and stuff, but between them, they just bounce off each other so well. You could be getting on the coach and there'd be a joke about your name straight away. And I used to get it every time coming on the coach. You wouldn't know who it was. But between them, they worked well. Wardy knew the youth lads well because he worked with them through the academy. He had a massive amount of respect from everyone. I think it was a natural progression for him to go as first team coach. Great player. He always talk about having a better left foot than me. He's still, and he's always had that banter, that camaraderie, and I think that's what you need when you're young player coming through. You need people you can trust and people that you respect. And I had two great people in front of me. More importantly, they brought into the way I was as a person. And my first year as a YT probably wasn't as confident. Probably still finding my way. And at the time, those players well ahead of me in terms of development, but they took the time and they put in the hours with me. And hopefully, I look back at it now and it paid off.
I get the impression it was a very special place around the club at that time. We've had players that you've played with on in recent weeks. Gary Dicker was one, and he had a few tales of trips and away games and things like that. When you look back to the camaraderie and the team that County had around that time, what was it like in the dressing room? What was it like bouncing off those guys?
It was good. I mean, early on when you had the lights, I mean, when I was there was Tony Dinnins was the captain and stuff, and I used to be terrified to going into the first team changing room to get the boots, because we had to clean boots. It was one of them where you'd want to be part of something, but you knew that if you were going in there, you had to be prepared. It was that old school mentality, the way it was, and I just loved it. Even the sort of second, third years, Adam Le Fondre, people like that around then, and Damien Allen, Michael Rains, these are the people that they were just above you, and they were closer to it than you were, but you could feel it, you could see the way they were excited, and they brought that into the younger lads, the first years, and it was a great transition from, knowing where you're going to go and having players that have a dabble in it. They've gone in there, they've had a few games, but they're still in the youth team and stuff, but you can see the transition. But you can see it through their character as well, the way they I was cleaning Damien Allen's boots for 2 seasons while I was there. I just used to try and ask him questions, and I was always impressed with the way Damo was like the fittest player ever. He could just run all day. So just watching them, that was the best thing. And Manor Farm at the time, the way it was set out was perfect for the young lads to see the first team players.
You mentioned a moment ago, it's sad to see the way the club went after the amazing kind of feats of that team that you were involved with and what they did and what they achieved. Is it, when you look, I mean, you've had an amazing career so far, it's still going, of course it is. You've had this amazing career, and a lot of the players that you played with have gone on to have really good careers as well. Championship, Premier League, SPL. Is there a little bit of sadness that it couldn't have been with County? Because I get the impression that if that team had stayed together for maybe another year, maybe 2 years, the talent was obviously there. Look what the players have gone on to achieve. The talent was there. As exciting as it is and as great as it is there a little bit of sadness that maybe we didn't all move up together?
Without a doubt. That'll be sort of, you look back at that year into your career, and there's a lot of questions that will never get answered. That is in football. Things, football is not always correct in terms of the politics and things of that. You can look back at things and say, how did it get like that? But I'd rather remember my time at Stockport to say, what we actually achieved and the feeling that I felt when I was around the place. And that's something that I'll never forget. The promotion particularly was my first full season in Football League, and it was almost unexpected. We had a great team, we had great players, but there was no sort of real pressure at the time. Everything was really natural. We were a young team, and I think at the time, young players get the chance to express themselves, and because we had so many, it was really relaxed vibe. So yeah, I think that team that we did have, particularly in the League One season when after the promotion, and sort of stabilised ourselves as a very good squad in League One. At one point we were top half of the table. It's like, we could keep going. Everyone had that idea in. And not only that, you look at the time then, there's players, I was getting to sort of 19, 20, but the youth looked vibrant again. There's players coming through that could have kept them going. And it's just like a conveyor belt. You look at the Borussia Dortmunds now, what they've done is, they've had 5 or 6 managers, and they've kept that constant flow of, probably won 2 or 3 league titles. They've been to Champions League finals. But, the talent's always there. The talent comes from the youth team, and Stockport, for me, I'll always remember it as a talent hub for players that definitely have had great careers, and the sad thing is to the players that could have made it as well.
With the exception of Ash, who obviously we've already spoke about, do you stay in touch with any of the other lads from that time? Because for me, the partnership, although you play on separate flanks, was always Anthony Pilkington and Tommy Rowe, and that was the one thing that every County fan remembered, is you just no defence could deal with Pilks and Rowe on either side. But do you stay in touch with Anthony Pilkington? Do you stay in touch with any of the other players?
Yeah, I think football is one of them things where you'll never really truly stay in touch, and like, there's no sort of, I've got kids now, I've got 3 kids, and it's hard enough managing them than my friends at the time. But
I feel you. I hear you.
I see all the lads from time to time, and we have great conversations. Particularly for me was the group that I came through with from second year. We had Greg Tansey, James Tunnicliffe, Gianluca Haven, Ryan Crowther, Dan Ellis, Paul Turnbull. We had a strong group, and I think we won the Youth Alliance Cup that year. We probably should have won the league. We lost a lot of players through playing in the first team. We had a great manager, and they're the players that went through, and they're the type of players that I'll still speak to and chat to. But the players that have all come through, we're all from one way or another, we're all connected, and if you see each other from time to time, it's just a good conversation. Particularly the first time at Bristol with Ash, sat talking for a good half an hour about the old days.
Just a very quick one. I mean, it's a bit of an odd question, I guess, but County this week have signed brothers. They've signed Connor and James Jennings. Connor's obviously returning to the club. It's not every week 2 brothers are playing in the same 11, but it has happened before at County. Was it a bit of a sense of pride playing alongside your brother in the same team at County?
It was immense pride at the time. Again, Danny, similar to my own journey, gone through Manchester United's academy, and he got released, and he had a choice to go to sort of Bolton or Stockport. They were really keen on him though in this time. Bolton had seen him play, they really liked him, and we managed to keep Danny at Stockport. I think it was because he saw my progression and came through, and he did great for the youth team, and again naturally progressed into the first team. And I remember the game at Peterborough was special. I think I was left back and he was left wing. I remember the game fondly, to be honest. It was a great game. The Leeds game, he'll never forgive me for. He says we won 2v1, and I shot instead of laying him off. He said he would have scored. He never lets me live that down, to be honest. I don't blame him to away at Ellen Road, and could have slipped him in for an easy assist and took a shot on. But no, it was great, to be fair. I think we got a little bit of local press at the time. Manchester News did a piece on us saying we were one of the first to play together. So it was great. It all came together at the same time. We learned from each other.
Do you accept fault then?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you accept fault for Ellen Road? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I accepted it on the day, but he will never forgive me for it, unfortunately.
It's one question, and again, I don't want to get you in any trouble, so feel free to either nod, shake, or whatever. But one day in the future, could it ever happen? Tommy Rowe running out at Stockport County in a county shirt again?
100%. Anything's possible in football. I was born and raised in Manchester, and I'll always be affiliated with these areas. Again, I'm still working hard on my own career, and I'm pushing on. And my son at the minute, he's 10 now. He's loving football as well. I keep whispering to him, saying we'll play together one day. I don't know if it's possible. He's got to make his debut quite young for me to keep going, but hopefully, who never knows. The dream would be to do that at Stockport, I suppose. But yeah, they are dreams, and I'll still aspire to things like that, and I'll just keep working hard now, and who knows what can happen in the future.
Does it just very quickly? And I know we're coming towards the end now. Does it feel special as a player? And like I say, I know you've gone on to have a great career, and I know that County are not the biggest club in the world, but just knowing that even these days, when County fans have been at away games or they're out on Edgeley after a win or whatever, and they've all had a few scoops, that your name is still sung by fans. You're spoken about in such high regard, and you've spoken fondly about when you were a kid playing football. And I was there as a kid playing football, where you have dreams and you want to do this one day and you want to do that one day. And regardless of what level you play at, if you can get to the stage where fans will still sing your name 10 years after leaving, or however long it is, and you have that little corner that you will always be remembered fondly. Does that tick a box within you? Does that make you have a sense of, I don't know, just give you a warm fuzziness, I guess?
Yeah, definitely. You couldn't have described it any better. The best thing I can remember was the most recent one was getting the train to Doncaster, and I was just in a Starbucks, and the manager was the biggest Stockport County fan ever. Free coffee straight away, and it was like he didn't need to do that. All I wanted was conversation about the old days, and that was enough. But he was great. There's fans like that everywhere. There's Stockport deserves it. And I have no doubt that they will be on the rise again, fighting in the Football League at the highest level again. That's a guarantee, because the people care in the area, good working class people as fans, and the club will be there one day, and I'm excited to see it. I'll keep my eye out for all the results for the new season coming up. That'll be a big season. As everyone knows, there's always expectations on Stockport County to do well because the fans demand it, and I think that's a good thing in the whole.
Listen, Tommy, I can't thank you enough for this evening. Do you think you'll get to a game anytime soon? Well, when the doors reopen properly, can we get you down to a game? Maybe bring you up to the studio?
Oh yeah, 100%. That'd be amazing, especially now knowing a few of the lads have joined back in different roles. It'd be great to see some more faces.
Excellent. Well, listen, I can't wait for the day, and hopefully this COVID will pass quickly and nicely, and we'll just get it all back running as we were. Tommy Rowe, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Chris. Take care, mate.
So, Chris, that was Tommy Rowe, and as usual, I always pick up on a couple of things, but the thing that really stood out for me there was his praise for Jim Gannon. I mean, all the players that have been on this series so far, or most of them, have either played with Jim or under Jim, and some of them, have been lucky enough to do both. But his praise for Jim Gannon there really stood out.
Yeah, and it's not the first time we've heard it either. If you think back all those weeks ago, beginning of June, I think it was, when Ash Williams was on, and he was saying that what Jim was trying to implement back then when these guys were first here, they're just seeing these things come out in training sessions now in the Championship, even in the Premier League. So they both speak absolute wonders about Jim Gannon. And any county fan knows the qualities of Jim Gannon. Every county fan knows that the man is an absolute miracle worker, a mastermind tactician at the football pitch. But to hear these players kind of give that first-hand experience, because a lot of county fans, and you and I and everyone else, we see what we see on a Saturday afternoon, Tuesday evening. That's when we see Jim Gannon in his element. Those guys, those players see it 3 or 4 times more than that a week in training sessions. They're the ones who are having late night phone calls with him, talking about tactics. They're the ones who are going over, how to play set pieces this way and that way and everything else, and they really reap the fruits of that. They really reap the fruits, the rewards of that so well. And what I would say about Tommy Rowe and Jim Gannon, it's a little bit unbequeath. Is that the right word? To kind of talk about to bring up what we talk about off air. But after our chat, he carried on speaking about just how much Jim Gannon meant to him, and he actually said the words, "He's improved me as a player. He's improved me as a person." He was talking about how what Jim Gannon used to go through with them in training sessions, he now goes through with his own kids when they're doing their homework and stuff like that. And I think that's amazing. That's a sign of a real manager. Yeah,
100%. And I think, most of the players that you'll have talked to will have felt that, but he's just articulated that in a really good way. And of course, the other thing about Tommy is, the Championship is, actually it's coming to a head as we speak. It's the AFL finals on at the moment. It's Brentford 0, Fulham 0. It's 55 minutes at the moment.
But you beat me.
But so that one looks like it's going to go to the wire. Talk about that in a sec. But he's obviously had a big say about what's happened in the Championship this year.
But he was gutted as well. He's just missed out, and you think, we've all been there as a fan, be it playoffs, cup games, whatever. If this goal goes in, if that draw is a win, if that loss is whatever, so he was gutted, but at the same time, he had this appreciation, and I felt I had to be kind of open with him when I said, as much as I like seeing former county players do well, I didn't have any particular affiliation with any of the clubs up at the top of the Championship. It's not going to affect me either way, whether Brentford or Fulham go up tonight. But I love the sport, love the game, and when you're seeing that kind of frantic atmosphere environment, my next door neighbour here is a Nottingham Forest fan. And I could hear him going up and down, and then he's just missed out in injury time, and your heart breaks for him. But it's football. That's why we love it. It's what it is. And so he's been through a real roller coaster, Tommy. But okay, he's quite disappointed, I guess. But he loves the sport. He loves the game, and he'll be back again next season. And I think that's what all county fans, all fans in general now, are just chomping at the bit. We're in this weird place where the Champions League is kind of here, but it's maybe not what we're used to. We don't really know how it's going to look. It could look absolutely amazing, but it also could fall a bit flat, very cagey. There's teams that aren't going to have a proper pre-season because they're still in playoffs, they're still in Champions Leagues, and then a couple of weeks later the season proper starts again. And it's all just a bit crazy at the moment. But it's just glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, exactly. We play our little part in entertaining people when it comes to football content. They're calling it the biggest. Well, the ESPN called it the richest game in sports. 215 million will go to Brentford or Fulham if they win that. So, do you have a preference between Brentford and Fulham?
Not really. I mean, I tend to look at like what do I know about each club. I quite like Scott Parker. I was a big fan of Scott Parker as a player. Brentford, it'd be nice to see someone a bit different in there. I enjoy Match of the Day on a Saturday night. That's about as far as my interest in the Premier League goes. I will watch it when I come home from county. It's a nice little wind down. Take your mind off what's happening at county and just stay in the realm, but put onto a different topic. No.
Well,
sorry.
Exactly. I mean,
boring answer, but
I lived for 20 years in London, so I've been to both grounds. I used to once when I was at Fulham, a ball boy ran on the pitch and picked up the ball before it actually went over the line. That's my that's my biggest memory of Craven Cottage. And yeah, Brentford have been there a few times. Yeah, I think it'd be, as you say, it'd be nice to have someone different in there. And obviously, it mean a lot to Brentford, but yeah, again, don't really care. I don't have a soft spot for Fulham a bit because there was a guy I used to work with when I worked for the council down there, and he worked for the council. He was called Tosh Chamberlain, and he played for Fulham in the 50s, and he played on the opposite wing to a very famous guy called Johnny Haynes, who was he's probably Fulham's greatest ever player, and he played for England and stuff. But Chamberlain was like a real kind of Jack the Lad, and once he told me a story about they were playing at Anfield, funnily enough, and Haynes actually Haynes kept getting the ball. They kept putting the ball to Haynes, and he wasn't getting the ball at all. So about 10 minutes into the game, Chamberlain got off the pitch and went and sat in the stands while the game was going on with his arms crossed because they weren't passing him the ball. This was in the first division in the 1950s, and he sat on the ball. He sat on the ball once as well. So he did a. Who was the guy who stood on the ball? Who was that and saluted? Who was that who did that?
Oh, who was that?
Yeah,
who
come
was
on.
That?
You have to try and remember by the end of the show. But in other news, fantastic new signing, a new old signing. Some really good news for the club this week.
Oh, how good is it to have Jamie Stott back at Stockport County? And do you know what it's done, right? Do you know what it's done? The whole ethos, if you like, of Stockport County, signing the players that they know and continuing this community feel is so summed up in Jamie Stott, and all these little stories have come out around it. Was this ethos kind of going a little bit with, all the new boys coming in, now we've got this new ownership and everything else, and you think, yeah, you can probably see that argument. But the fact that they've kept hold of the core group of players, or at least a core group of players, The fact that Jamie Stott is now back and County fans know him inside out, exactly what he offers. He's a left-sided centre-half, can be put out left-back if needs be, but really he's a left-sided centre-half. You know how he's going to play in the team. You know the qualities he brings. What's the first thing you see on social that evening? It's Sam Walker putting videos on Facebook of Sam Walker, Dan Cowan, Paul Turnbull, Ash Palmer, Jordan Keane, and Jamie Stott going out for a few beers to celebrate. That is what that is how important this club is, B, those players are, but C, that is the impact of Jamie Stott. He's coming into a dressing room that he knows. He's coming into a group of players that, yes, have new faces, but he knows them and he can respect them and appreciate them. And for me, it's a fantastic signing because of his age, because of how he knows the gaffer already. This kid has got potential written all over him. Throw him in the Premier League now and he'll be out of depth, wouldn't know what he's doing. But I think give him a few years at Stockport County, get a couple of promotions under his belt. This guy's got Championship defender, maybe even further than that, completely within his locker. I think he's that good. I think he's that good a player. And I don't just think that because of statistics that I've seen online or hearsay, but I've seen him. We've seen him do it at County. We've seen the remarkable improvement in the team's performance when he was in the squad. We saw County. Dan Cowan did well deputising when he came in, but long term, County didn't look as strong without Jamie Stott, I don't think. And now to have him back, it's a great signing. And
he's a County player this time. It's a 2-year deal.
Yes, no more loans. None of this. He has to go back for a game and then he can come back and he misses the last game of the season, so he's in the stand celebrating. I mean, how much of a fantastic story was that? At Nuneaton County, to win the league, they have to go and get the win. They do it. Jamie Stott can't play despite being such a key figure throughout the season. The pictures come up online of him just going wild in the stand, celebrating as the goals go in. And it was just so good that he was a part of that game, because it would have been horrifically unfair. Well, let's be honest, horrible if he's played such a strong part all season, then he's not in the celebrations at the end. So it was great to have him there. I think he is at one with this club now. And even the players that have left are still very, very close to, we are carrying this team throughout. And I just don't see any negatives. I just don't. And as a County fan, I'm buzzing about it.
It's time to throw things at the screen if you're a County fan. I was going to quickly talk about Liverpool, but he is the kind of player, obviously, as you said, at Premier League level, that Liverpool need. Liverpool probably not going to do much in the transfer market again this summer. That's been made clear, and everyone was crying this time last year, and look what happened. So I'm not too bothered, but I think somebody who can cover Andy Robertson, but also do a job at centre half, exactly what Liverpool would need. So. Yeah, what a great player.
Keep your hands off him.
He's ours now. What a great signing for County. So
yeah, ball playing centre half. Happy days.
Ball playing centre half. You can't have enough of them. Now next week, clues or no clues?
No. But I can tell you next week. I'm not going to give you a clue. I'm not going to give you anything to guess who it is. But next week is a player that I'm so excited to have on, because for me, he is a club legend. He is a club legend. There will be people there that go, he only played for a couple of years and it was only at whatever level and blah, blah, blah. But for me, this guy's a real name next week. And I'm buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing to have him back on. So, yeah. Nothing given away here. We'll put it out on Instagram on Monday, as ever. And but I'm looking forward to it, and I think you will as well.
Well, I'm buzzing as well because I squeezed a couple of clues out of you there. You said only a couple of seasons, so there's a bit of clue there, unintentional clue. But let's give it at the finger guns. We'll see you next time on County Live.